Hi, everybody. Welcome to Profiles in Innovation. I am your host, Christina Inge, for Brandeis Innovation, and we're talking today with Alison Elliott, who is the founder and chief cook and bottle washer of the Farmer Foodie, a really exciting plant-based alternative to cheese that just launched here in the Boston area and worldwide. Welcome, Allie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're very excited. And I hear that you actually launched your product yesterday for online sales and you sold out within hours. Is that the case?
Yes, I sold out in under 24 hours. I am so excited. There's so much buzz around my product. I'm really established on social media with a network of over 6,000 followers between TikTok and Instagram. And I really pushed my e-commerce sales direct to consumer and people wanted to buy it. And now it's sold out and I'll be launching pre-sales soon for my June 10th production run.
Awesome. And if people want to get your product, they can also get it at farmers markets, correct?
Yes, on June 11th, I will begin sales at farmers markets in the Boston area. I'm going to be at the Natick, Ashland, Brighton, and Belmont farmers markets. And those will be regular farmers markets I attend bi-weekly. And then I'll do some pop-up markets at the Central Square Market and Copley Square Market in the Boston area, like the hub of Boston.
Awesome. Well, you sound extremely busy. And so I wanted to hear about how your journey has been so far. I mean, starting a consumer packaged goods business is very challenging. The food space is especially competitive. And yet, just from what you've just shared, you've clearly made a real success of launching the Farmer Foodie. Can you tell me a little bit about what gave you the idea for this startup?
Yeah, so I created the Farmer Foodie as my recipe website. It was a food blog in 2020 on January 1st. And since then, I've developed over 150 plant-forward recipes that are available on my website, thefarmerfoodie.com. And I decided to go to the Heller School for Social Policy at Brandeis University a couple of years ago. And I'm actually graduating on Sunday with my MBA in social impact and my MA in sustainable international development. It's the same day I'm graduating. I graduated from undergrad the day after my birthday. So that's exciting. It's a good day for me. And I decided to go to graduate school, get my MBA because I knew I wanted to take the Farmer Foodie to another level. And at that time, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, but I knew I wanted to develop a community and then launch something even more impactful from that. And so at the beginning of this year in February, I pitched at the SparkTank competition through Brandeis Innovation, and I won second place and some prize funding. And I pitched my plant-based mac and cheese idea. And about a month later, on March 10th, I decided to pivot to my everything cheese, which is a cashew Parmesan alternative that can also be hydrated and turned into a queso, ricotta, or mac and cheese sauce in 30 seconds. All the consumer has to do is add the directed amount of boiling water and blend the product, and you have a totally different type of cheese. I like to say, in short, it's versatility cheese.
Versatility cheese. I love that phrase. And we talk a lot about being adaptable in the Spark program, right? And so it's incredible that you were able to pivot so quickly, and clearly the results speak for themselves that it was a smart decision. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you learned in the Spark program about optimizing your startup so that it has the strongest chances of success? Because it definitely sounds like, you went in with an idea, you kept working on it, you kept refining it. How did the Spark program help you refine your idea to bring you to this successful point today?
So the Spark program has an amazing group of people who are so knowledgeable, and they were so supportive throughout, and they still are so supportive throughout my journey. And one of the people who are in charge of running the program is Juan Giraldo, who's the co-founder of WeWork-Oatly, which is a healthy gut beverage company. So he's already in the consumer packaged goods space, which was so helpful which has been so helpful throughout this entire journey, because he's gone through these motions before. Of course, beverages are slightly different than food products, but it's the same space in a sense. And so learning from him and seeking guidance from him and understanding where I should be and what my next steps should be has been extremely valuable. And so as soon as I started the program, I heard a lot, you need to test your product. You need to make sure your product is good to go before you enter distribution. You need to get consumer feedback, have conversations, sell at farmers markets. And so I really did build my go-to-market strategy based off of these conversations and this advice that I've been receiving, which is why I am, launching with an e-commerce approach, because that's a network that I'm already familiar with and I have. And then, of course, it's low cost to enter the e-commerce space if you're not pouring money into marketing, which I'm currently not doing. I'm doing more of an organic, bootstrapped approach, pulling on my existing network. And this summer, I'm really excited to gain consumer feedback by having conversations with people at farmers markets. And it's just been really helpful to think through the motions of how to launch this business, and even beyond this summer, right? So I'm hoping to do some fundraising this summer, and then an even larger round in the fall, scale the business, think about distribution. And it's just been really helpful to understand like what motions and what milestones to hit and how to think about launching.
That's great to have gotten that mentorship as well, and that personal connection with somebody who's been down that path. I think that's incredibly valuable. And now you're starting to be that person who's been down that path and having your own knowledge about the space that you're in. And you've had some really exciting new opportunities come your way. You won like the WeWork-Oatly Sustainability Challenge. That's been a real boost to you. I know that you've pitched at a multitude of different events. What would you say to somebody who is thinking about entering the consumer packaged goods space as a founder?
Yeah. So I would definitely think about the product that you're trying to launch and what the need is for that product. So part of the reason why I did pivot to everything cheese is because it truly is a differentiated, unique product that does not exist on the market. And through my recipe developing career, I know that there are consumers out there making cashew-based cheeses at home, which takes a very long time to make in comparison. And so my product really meets a need in the industry. It also is kind of tacking on to a trending industry, which is plant-based alternatives. And it is something I, as a founder, can truly get behind promoting to venture capitalists, angel investors, just interested parties, networks, anyone, because it really is highly differentiated. It tastes amazing. I've received so much feedback. Everybody loves it. And it's so versatile. So any founder that wants to do something in the consumer packaged goods space, just make sure you're coming up with something innovative and you're not just, going off of another trend or another product that already exists.
Absolutely. And part of finding out what that product is, as we learn in Spark, is customer discovery. And I know that a lot of founders find that to be intimidating. And for folks who are listening who might be unfamiliar with the term, customer discovery is when you identify people who are potential customers for your product, who fit the profile demographically or psychographically of your target audience. And you sit down with them for a relatively unstructured conversation to discover what their wants and needs are that you could potentially fulfill with your product. And it's always an eye-opener, isn't it, for founders. So especially when you have like a product that's so close to your heart, and consumer packaged goods often are things that people feel very strongly about. They're the target audience. I know you live a very healthy, plant-based and sustainable lifestyle. This is really your product. Yeah, you have to go out there and get raw, unfiltered feedback on it. It's time consuming, it's emotionally intense, but it is invaluable, again, as your success story tells us. What would you advise a founder if they're thinking about starting a customer discovery process right now?
I would definitely say start making your product for friends and family, start creating legitimate feedback forms and just get out there and have people taste it. And truly tell your friends and family, I want your honest feedback, even if you think it will hurt my feelings, because that's the only way that you as a founder and you as a product developer will be able to grow. Your product has to be delicious. Otherwise, consumers won't buy it, and your customer acquisition costs will be through the roof because you'll have to acquire new customers every time you try and sell a unit. Whereas something that truly tastes great should sell itself, in addition to having a brand that people want to get behind and really, resonate with. And I think if you're a founder who's trying to start a food company, or, it's something you're really toying around with, you might as well just start getting yourself out there, start getting a name out there for yourself, post about food, go on social media, similar to what I did for 2 years. And I've really built up a community, which everybody that I speak to says that launching with an existing community is an advantage to me.
Absolutely. It certainly is. You mentioned, just to circle back a little bit, about pitching to investors. Having a community is so incredible. Having that bootstrapping, again, you've got that built-in community, you've aligned with your consumers' needs, and your product is selling. You've got real customers. That must be a really good strength to have when you go out there and pitch investors, which you mentioned that you're working on right now. What advice would you have about that side of the process for potential founders? They're thinking, okay, I have done my customer discovery. I feel confident in the product. I'm maybe generating some sales. Maybe I'm on the verge of generating some sales, but regardless, I feel that I have traction. I'm ready to pitch. What has that been like?
Yeah. So I think really thinking through how to gain customers, what customers like, what customers want, really showing people who are interested in your business that this is a product that people want is step one. And once you've done that, I would definitely suggest a pre-seed round with friends and family. And from that, what you need to do is really figure out your costs long-term, how many units you think you're going to be able to sell. So having some sales at the beginning of the journey, right? At the beginning of the pre-seed round will sort of help you think through what your capabilities and capacities are. And that way you can project for the next year or 6 months, how much money you think you're going to need to actually produce these units, and then go into a pre-seed round trying to generate that capital. And from there, of course, taking that money, doing what you said, you're always going to need probably double the amount you think you will. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And then when it comes to generating capital from venture capitalists or angel investors, I mean, I personally have not done this yet, but I've been advised to generate those relationships. Networking is your best friend. Try and chat with people. Of course, do not ask them for money right off the bat. Just have genuine conversations with them, network with them, see what other businesses they've been investing in, if they have any ideas for you moving forward. And then when it is time to start generating from external resources, you've already developed those relationships and you can pull on those.
Absolutely. So really, I'm hearing a very consistent thread throughout what you're talking about. Your time in the Spark program, building your business to be set up for success, relationships, talking to people who've been down that path before. Your successful bootstrapping, where you sell out your product within hours, relationship building with your customers, where you've discovered what they want and they're ready and eager for your product. And then in pursuing funding, again, it's about those human relationships. I'm guessing one piece of advice you might have for founders would be to build relationships. I hear you on that. Any other advice you would have for someone, especially someone who's in college the way you were when you started this, who's thinking about doing their own startup, and it's like, I'm balancing my studies with this. How do you do it? And what would you recommend somebody think about if they're in college right now and they yet want to be a startup founder and are like, I got to do something with this idea?
So I have a lot of ideas, hence why I'm going into entrepreneurship, and also why I got my MBA in social impact. And throughout the 2 years of graduate school, I consistently pitched ideas to different groups I was working with. So I've developed business pitches, business plans for carbon negative solar powered food trucks. And I even won money for that, and a carbon negative restaurant. And I've built out financial models for different sustainable food related businesses that I thought I might want to pursue. And I wound up settling on the one that made the most sense to me from a feasibility perspective. So what I would say is get yourself out there, continue to move forward, pitch your ideas to your friends, your family. Don't be shy about it. Nobody's going to steal your idea because it's something that you and your skill set is bringing to the table. It's something you most likely are the most connected to, and just have fun with it. And once you feel ready, you'll know, and then continue to take advantage of these opportunities. For example, tonight I'm pitching at the Founders Live event at the Cambridge Innovation Center, and I'm in the final pitch round for the Mass Challenge Accelerator program this summer. And I have applied to a lot of other opportunities, and hopefully, some of them will stick, like the WeWork+Oatly Sustainability Changemakers pitch competition, which I won a free WeWork office for an entire year. And I won mentorship under Oatly, which is the leading oat milk company in the world.
That is just an incredible journey that you've had. And I can tell you, we here at the Spark program at Brandeis Innovation are so incredibly proud of you and are your biggest supporters. We're always talking about how awesome Allie is and what great progress you're making. So any final thoughts or any final advice you want to share? Anything we haven't covered? The floor is yours, Allie.
As we were talking earlier, it is very important to network if you are truly gearing up to launch something like this. I would definitely think about the feasibility of the business and how it looks on the shelf. So where I see my product is actually in the pasta aisle next to other jarred sauces, because it can be used, it's a shelf-stable product, right? It's a cashew Parmesan alternative, and it can be used on pasta, pizza, any other, kinds of foods similar to that. Even risotto, it can be used in risotto. And then it can be hydrated and turned into a pasta sauce. So what better aisle to have it in than right next to the pasta? And it can be turned into a queso and ricotta. So I think just really thinking through what your business is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a food product, what the need is, why people want it. Is it tasty? Is it good? Is it something that will sell? Just thinking through all of the motions. And of course, I'm always a resource. I'm here. I'd love to network with people, help young entrepreneurs, and pay it forward.
Awesome. Well, that's very, very generous of you. So folks, if you're listening and you want to get in touch with Allie and you're a Brandesian, we'll forward a request over to you. And if you're interested in purchasing the Farmer Foodie versatile everything cheese, where do people go?
Yes, so I will be producing my everything cheese again on June 10th, and I'll be launching pre-sales for those units relatively soon, probably in the next couple of days, on eateverythingcheese.com. And everything cheese is spelt with a Z because it is a plant-based, raw, vegan, gluten-free, soy-free product. And it is extremely delicious. I can't wait for everybody to try it. It'll be online all the time unless it's sold out. And I'll also be at those farmers markets this summer: Ashland, Belmont, Natick, Brighton, and then Copley and Central Square, and some specialty retail locations in the Hudson Valley and the Berkshires.
Awesome. So wherever you go this summer or online, you'll be able to get your delicious product. And I know I can't wait to get my package that is in the mail. Allie Elliott of the Farmer Foodie 2020 to SparkTank winner and all around food entrepreneur. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to this episode of Profiles in Innovation. I want to again thank Allie Elliott of the Farmer Foodie for joining us today. I'm Christina Inch from the Brandeis Innovation Center signing off. Happy innovating. Take care, be safe, and we hope to see you for the next episode. Be well.
Thank you.